Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Stars Over the Prairie. Weekly show from 10 a.m. to noon on KDAL, 610 AM, 103.9 FM. Stream it all over the world at KDAL610.com. We're happy to announce we are the number one talk show in our time frame on Saturdays in the Twin Ports. So we've been picking up steam over this last year. We celebrated our anniversary last week, and we're looking forward to a great year.
Yeah, I got to say something about that. What is the gift for 1 year? Is it paper?
I couldn't tell you.
A paper card? I think it's 1 year is paper. 5 years is, I want to say it's like a crystal. And then 10 years, I think, is a diamond.
Well,
so when we make it to 10, I'm expecting some kind of bling. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there.
That would be Chris Allen, my wingman, who's been with me from the very beginning. What do we do on Stars Over the Prairie? We interview stars, people that used to be stars, people that want to be stars, people that want nothing to do with being stars, people that just go outside in their bare feet with a cold one and look at the stars. You know, I've been waiting for women to take over the world for some time, and, there's an argument to be made that they do run the world, and women are taking over Stars Over the Prairie today. We've got two amazing musicians. Mary Boo has got a new record out. And she is going to be performing Friday, March 28th at the Sacred Heart Music Center, along with Duluth native, another amazing musician named Galen Lee. And we are going to be talking to both of those ladies today and playing a lot of their very cool music. Mary's record is called The Wildness, Living and Dying. If you're an Aries and your birthday today, you got a pretty good look in your head.
They got it together, those Aries.
They do.
I've dated some Aries, and they're usually either kind of A personality or very organized, kind of almost on the border being anal.
How many Aries have you dated?
I'm going to take the fifth.
Well, if it's your birthday today, Mr. Aries, you might be on fire inside, but the outside world won't suspect a thing. Bring your ambition and plans into focus in the year, and then ruthlessly pump them until at least one of them becomes real. May and June may be kind to you, bringing monetary gain and advice and compassion of friends. Things may slow in September, and you should take advantage of this downtime to take care of yourself and your daily regimen. You'll be grateful later. A frustrated love affair might further slow you down in November. Don't despair. Your year ends brilliantly with great wisdom and love. Well, that's too bad. I wish I was born today.
Yeah.
But I could tell you who was born today. Chris Allen, Mr. Wingman.
Mm-hmm.
Chico Marx from the Marx Brothers was born in 1887 in New York City, passed away in 1961. Carl Malden was born in Chicago in 1912, the great actor. You were probably of age where you
Streets
watched,
of San Francisco.
I was going to say that. Of course, and then two of my favorite movies, On the Waterfront and A Streetcar Named Desire. Mr. Malden passed away in 2009. Boy, lots of great, a couple of great composers born today. Stephen Sondheim.
Wow.
He and Andrew Lloyd Webber. Andrew Lloyd Webber was born in 1948 in London, England. Of course, Jesus Christ Superstar, Phantom of the Opera, and Cats. That guy's got to be rolling.
Among others.
Among others. You know, I saw Jesus Christ Superstar, I think it was in 1973 or 74 at the Deck.
Really?
Yeah. Mom and Dad and young Paul came down.
My aunt is a big fan of that, and she has the album, the actual LP of Jesus Christ Superstar, and she had read that it hadn't been converted to CD, and I was able to find an import for her, so she has it on CD now.
And then if you go to the show, you can convert at the show.
Right.
Religiously. Also, Reese Witherspoon. You know, I did a gig with Reese Witherspoon, 1999.
Really?
I was invited to play at the Million Mom March on the National Mall out in D.C. My friends, Josh Horowitz and his group, Stop Handgun Violence, invited me out to play. And Reese Witherspoon spoke on one end of the mall, and I played on the other end on a stage with Dig This and Wilson from Heart.
Really?
Yeah. And it was really crazy because I always like when I go to a gig, Chris, I like to, if I can, go to wherever I'm playing the night before to get a feel for it.
Right.
So we went down, I was staying with Josh in Arlington, and we got off the metro and we came up. Who did we bump into but James Brady?
Really?
From the Brady Bill. Of course, he was press secretary for Ronald Reagan and got shot.
Yeah.
Back during that horrific assassination attempt. Yeah, first guy we bumped into. Talk about a coincidence. Hey, there's another great birthday going on up there in the North Shore. My good friend Piper Donlin is turning 34 years old. She's celebrating it with her mother, one of my best friends, Amy Donlin. And Amy trucked up little Fitzroy, their dog, to join the celebration. So happy 34th to Piper Donlin. Good day for birthday.
Yeah. Especially if you're an Aries. I mean, that sounded unbelievable, like an Aries wrote it.
Yeah, it is. Could have been. Who knows? Hey, I'm so excited to present these two women, Mary Boo and Galen Lee. She is, they're both incredible. We also are going to be talking to Mark Niksklowski, the top of the second hour. He's the guy in charge running the show up there at the Sacred Heart Performance Music Center. And so we're going to find out a little history on that. But so great show. Stick around. You're going to love the music. You're going to love the conversation here on Stars Over the Prairie. Now, Mary Boo spent some time in Duluth over the years. She went to UMD. She studied psychology, but really got her music career going here. And she's put out 9 records over the last 20-some years. She's got a great new record out called The Wildness, The Art of Living and Dying. We're going to be listing some tracks. And let's get her on the phone. Mary, how are you doing?
I'm great. So happy to be here. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
The record's really good.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it, especially from you.
It's the 9th record that you've done, right?
Yep.
When did your first one come out?
In 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's one every 2 years. That's not
yeah,
bad.
something like that. I've had, some breaks and then, but yeah, it's very raw, a lot of those songs I wrote when I was 16, 17. So it's kind of a cringe to me, but some people still love it.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from Princeton, Minnesota, just an hour west, the Twin Cities. Yep.
Sure.
Small town.
I believe Kevin Odegaard, who played guitar on Tangled Up in Blue on Blood on the Tracks, Dylan's best-selling record, is also a Princeton native.
You are correct. I have never met Kevin, but I do know that.
Was there any other Odegaards up in Princeton?
There were. I believe there was there a car dealership?
Right. I've heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, I blast it out of there as soon as I can. But my parents are still there. It's beautiful land. I have some dear friends, but I was like, ready for the city.
You spent some time in Duluth as well?
Yes, I went to UMD, and I finished my bachelor's in psychology there, and I actually moved back a few times after that. It's complicated, but I love Duluth. Yeah.
Well, I think the only harder thing making a living as a musician is trying to make a living with a psychology degree.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go on and become a therapist or, I actually did work in the field. I was doing clinical research at a hospital and a prison for a while. But
wow.
Yeah, but I don't like the desk jobs. and I wanted to be creative, making music and on the road, and yeah.
So when young Mary was growing up in Princeton, what kind of music were you listening to?
Ooh, it's gone through many phases, definitely. My folks listened to Dylan and the Beatles and Joni, and so that was like early. And then I got into, like, I loved the Supremes.
Sure.
And I was just talking about my first album I ever bought, or CD, was Tony Braxton.
Okay.
So yeah, and I had a country phase. I was listening to some Pam Tillis yesterday. But then, later in high school, I got really into the grunge. So Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Juliana Hatfield. And then I became a raver too. So I love electronic. I love music. I explore a lot.
Well, this new record that I don't want to get into right now, I want to talk about it more, has a lot of the those electronic elements in it, which I'm really, really enjoying. But the songs swing really hard and great lyrics. What was, but before we get into your great new record, The Wildness of Living and Dying, let's talk a little bit about where were some of the first stages you played?
Sure. Well, the first was going way back. My first paying music gig was accompanying church services. So, yeah, my mom was a music director of the church. So I kind of grew up with those Methodist hymns, which adds to the melancholy vibes.
Right on, Mary. I'm a lapsed Methodist myself.
Are you now? Yep. Wow. Yeah.
It's like I tell people, they say, well, what's the Methodist church like? I said, it's a lot. It's like being a Catholic without the guilt.
Yes, it's kind of chill, right?
No.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
So once you're doing some church gigs, then where'd you start playing, like out in public?
Out in public, there was a coffee shop in Princeton that I had my first show, but that was all covers. But then when I moved to Duluth, my very first original music gig was at Amazing Grace.
Sure.
And I became a barista there, and I became very entwined. And, you probably know Chip and have played there, I'm sure, many times.
I'm really good friends, still am, with John Ward and Lori Hatton.
I love them. Oh, yeah. They brought me up in a way. Kim and Bev and all the chicks. Yeah. John and Lori are just legendary. I love them.
Did you ever play, they live, not too far from downtown. Mm-hmm. And there was that old Bell telephone building that they used to, in fact, loaded some of their first gigs there. Did you ever play there?
I didn't. I just had moved to Duluth in 98, and it was just like a little before my awareness of what was going on in the scene there. But I sure wish I had caught that wave. Yeah. That sounded really cool.
Well, Duluth, I've been playing in Duluth forever. Mm-hmm. It really has, it's a thing now. I mean, it's a big music town.
Definitely.
So you were kind of there just when those, it's always been a great music town. Yeah. But I mean, when Charlie Parr was coming of age and Al Sparhawk and Mimi were coming of age. And and now you're returning to the Sacred Heart. So you've really seen a 25-year progression of the music in Duluth and the Twin Ports.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful place to get the music going. Really welcoming, I felt, and just exciting too. In 98, those early 2000s, there weren't as many venues. It kind of goes in and out, but Amazing Grace and the North Shore, like the mezzanine shows, and I was playing gigs with Charlie, and Trampled was playing at Bev's Juke Joints before Simple Junction, and Low, of course, and Haley, and oh my gosh, so many amazing humans. So
what did besides the music scene, and of course the beautiful Lake Superior, what else did you like about Duluth? I've lived up here, geez, it's hard to believe, almost 4 years now.
Yes.
And it's a creative town on so many different levels.
Yeah. Yeah. In college, I would just walk for hours. I would walk all over. Like, I'd spend like 5 hours just wandering, and I'd find those like hidden staircases, like in the West Side, and like these overgrown, ruined stairwells, and like over by Congdon, and then up by, like off Skyline. There's a whole bunch of them. And so I just like I felt like Duluth was so mysterious and like poetic, and like even though the winters were so brutal, that was like amazing too, the storms. And it's like I'm in South Minneapolis, and it's kind of ticky-tacky houses, and I've always thought, like, why do that? Like, everything kind of looks the same. Like, why not be in an epic place? And the lake in Duluth just obviously tempers the cold because of it. It's so beautiful, So yeah, I love.
So when are you moving back up?
I know, I almost did a few years ago. It's it's always in the back of my mind.
I just had a friend of mine visit on her way up to visit her daughter up in the North Shore, and we had a cup of coffee together. She brought me a caramel roll from Toby's, and she's thinking about. She lived right outside of White Bear Lake, grew up on a farm. And she's getting to the point in her life, she's thinking about pulling up roots and moving up here to God's country.
Yes, it really is.
So besides being a musician and songwriter, you're also a yoga instructor. When did you get involved with yoga?
I always say my first taste of like yogic philosophy was actually through Taekwondo in 7th grade, because they taught us how to meditate.
Right.
And then in late high school, someone lent me a book. It was Richard Hittleman's 28-Day Yoga. He was like a TV yoga guy, and he taught like yoga for the housewife, which is like terrible. But I started, and then 17 magazine had an article. So I started like around when I was like 16, 17, it was on my radar. And then when I moved to Duluth, I started going to yoga classes, and I weaved it into my psychology degree. The head of the psychology department was a man named Dr. Bud McClure, and he was pretty revolutionary, and he was from Southern California and brought a lot of like what Eastern philosophy into the program. So there was like transpersonal psychology, meditation, and yoga. So I got really involved there. And then I moved to Seattle and got my teacher training in Seattle in 2009. So I've been teaching about 15 years.
Well, Seattle, another beautiful town.
Yes. It's like a giant Duluth,
I played out there at a place called the Crocodile Cafe.
Heck yeah, that's so cool. I've never played there, but I've been there. It's so rad. Yeah. That's awesome.
It was really cool. I got a fun meditation story. When I was last year of high school, back right after the Civil War, these two guys came to the city hall to talk about transcendental meditation. This was in the mid-'70s. Mm-hmm. And so I had been reading about it. I go, this sounds really interesting. Yeah. So they had rented a couple of rooms above the Royal Hotel on the main drag. And so if you wanted to, I forget what it cost, probably $30 back then, to get a mantra and learn transcendental meditation. But now when I got to the rooms, these guys that were in white shirts and ties, city council meeting, were now wearing all these floral things. They were sitting cross-legged. There was flowers and lights all over the room. So I did my introduction and got my mantra. And so I've been doing transcendental meditation for over 40 years.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Now, the one thing, there was a little glitch 5 or 6 years ago. I was reading somewhere and it said, do not smoke marijuana and do transcendental meditation at the same time because it can cause brain damage. Yeah, but I learned that a little too late.
I mean, they go hand in hand, right? No, no, I haven't done TM actually, but a lot of friends do, and I was just in India and I went to the ruins of the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi ashram, and that's where the Beatles went and Donovan. And so it's incredible. Yeah. And just to, see the gallery of photos of the Beatles sitting with the Maharishi and just how, you're practicing it. It's just so many people. What a wave, what a beautiful thing. So,
well, we are going to, let's see, we're going to listen to a song with Mary Bew. We're going to talk more about her yoga, traveling to India, the new record, her show, March 28th at the Sacred Heart Performing Arts Center. But we're going to listen to a cut off her new track called Right Now, and we're going to listen to it right now. Here's Mary Bew. That means you're back with the Wall of Power Radio Hour and your host, Paul Metsa. My guest, Mary Bew, we just listened to a great song of hers called Right Now. So let's get in. Let's start talking about when did this record start, where did you record it, and who are some of those great musicians on it?
Thank you so much. Yeah, this record's unique because I wrote all the songs kind of in the same time period of mid-2020 to 2023-ish. And I worked with my producer, Steve Price.
Sure.
He's legendary in the suburbs, and he was in Rex Daisy and Trailer Trash. And we worked together on the last album, The World Is Your Lover, which came out in 2020. Great year to put a record out. So it was Steve Price and the same band from the last record, Jeremy Ilvasaker on guitar, who's also in the suburbs. Just a phenomenal man.
Oh, he's in a class in a world by himself.
Yes, he is.
I did a gig. I sat in with Keith Sikola. Do you know Keith?
I do. Yeah, not well, but I adore him. What an awesome human. Yeah.
We grew up together up in northern Minnesota. He was in a band with my brother.
Cool.
And, so he was down at the Astor Cafe, not the new one you just played that I want to talk about with Scarlet Goodbyes.
Yeah.
And Jeremy was the guitar player there. And I had heard him on some recordings, but he is really a magician with that guitar.
Magician is the perfect word. And yeah, he's so masterful and such a good human, like true blue, amazing heart. Yeah. Good one. Good human.
You're listening to Stars Over the Prairie. We're having a great conversation with Mary Bew. We're going to have Galen Lee's up in the second hour, but we're going to hear from our sponsors and then continue our conversation with the great Mary Bew.
I'm Sydney, and I had Z LASIK at Weiss Eye Center. Oh, man, camping and like being able to look up at the stars or like wake up to the stars or wake up to the sun and not have to kind of fumble around to see where my glasses are. So I'm looking forward to that. Eventually, it's like getting out and enjoying nature with sort of no barrier. Oh, the staff were really great. Yeah, it was really, always felt pretty taken care of and very friendly staff, and they were answering my questions even if they were like really, really trivial. It's something that you gotta have like sort of a bit of trust in this doctor.
Weiss Eye Center is the only clinic to offer blade-free Z LASIK in the Northland. To find out more and to arrange your free consultation, call 218-625-1917 today or visit weisseyecenter.com for more information. Weiss Eye Center. See the best.
If you're looking for a great hang in downtown Duluth, I highly suggest Carmody's Irish Pub. They're located at 308 East Superior Street, open Tuesday through Sunday. The host and hostess are Eddie and Liz. Eddie is a retired Chicago cop. If he happens to be in the club when you're there, talk to him. He's got more stories than I do. They've also got a great jam session every Tuesday night from 8 to 11 with Bruce Woodman. So if you're a musician, tried and true, that has been out there playing and just want to go try out some new stuff, go down and hang out with Bruce and the crew. Or if you're just up and coming, bring your horn or your stringed instrument or just want to sing, go sit in with Bruce Woodman every Tuesday night at Carmody's Pub, 308 East Superior Street.
River City Records and Books, voted Best Record Store of 2023 in the Twin Ports by the Duluth Reader, has in stock thousands of new and used vinyl records, from classic rock to punk, grunge, and metal, to hip-hop, rap, and jazz, reggae, and dub. Thousands of books, CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray, and VHS. Also a large selection of cassettes, comic books, and music magazines. Stop in and see them at 1814 West Superior Street in the friendly Lincoln Park Craft District. Open 9 to 7, 7 days a week.
Hey, this is Charlie Parr. You are listening to Stars Over the Prairie radio show with Paul Metsa on KDAL 610 AM or 103.9 on your FM dial.
That's Mary Bew from her new record, The Wellness of Living and Dying. And I asked her, as we continue our conversation, where she recorded the record.
We did it at Steve Price's home studio. Yep. And so it was Steve, Jeremy, the drummers, Richard Medic. And Richard, he's Eric Koskinen's main guy. And he's a session player in Nashville and just phenomenal. Also masterful. And then the strings are Julia Floberg on cello and Shannon Fried-Rubin on violin. And Shannon plays with Cloud Cult. So she's, and then Julia has a cello quartet, and she actually moved down to Malacca and has a farm where they raise birds and vegetables. Oh. I know. So really awesome. I'm so grateful to collaborate with those folks.
You know, I never got it together. The home, you know, and I know I have a lot of my friends that have home studios, but it's like I could plug my Telecaster into a twin reverb, and then I'm topped out. Mechanically, I was talking to the great Ricky Peterson, who's been playing with Stevie Nicks for years and Fleetwood Mac, and we're talking about doing a project together. And he said, Paul, do you have a studio in your basement? And I said, no, Ricky. I have a cassette recorder on my kitchen table. So I give credit to guys like Steve and others who actually got it together enough. They can record in their, wherever their room in their houses, save $75 to $200 an hour.
Totally. Yeah, it's a converted garage space. It's beautiful. And, but it is like, what do we want to focus on? Do we want to write music and then have the ability to record it, but then we have to spend all the time learning that stuff? Right. That would be amazing. And also, like, it's nice to just kind of show up and relax and have someone take care of that technical stuff.
I totally agree. For me, when I go into the studio, it's like I don't work on my own car. Yeah. I like to go into a garage, whatever they're going to charge me, fix my car. Same thing in the studio. I like to go in the studio, let the other guys twirl the knobs, and then that's the time, as you know, let somebody else do it, and you can really just be the artist.
Yes, I like that too.
So what? When I called you the other day to set up this interview, you were in the middle of a piano lesson. Do you give lessons too?
I do. I have a very limited amount of. I used to, in COVID times, I had quite a few. I had about 25 students, piano, guitar, and I would do it on Zoom. I had to like completely reinvent everything I did. But right now I just have a couple like beginner piano and guitar and voice, and I do some like creativity coaching and stuff. But yeah, it's very cool to watch people learn and progress, and it turns into a little bit of music therapy. People, there's just so much. People get so stressed out and like perfectionist and like nervous,
right?
And learning, especially like you're learning instruments as adults, it's like not easy, and reading music. Right. And so I'm just like the most chill, probably a little too chill, not like very disciplinarian, but I hold space for people it's supposed to be fun,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When I first moved to Minneapolis in the late 70s, I was giving guitar lessons in North in a place called the Guitar Store, and I had 35 students a week, and it was, I was making my money, and back then I was starting to play at night, so I was very busy. Mm-hmm. 85 at the Minnesota Music Awards, I was honored. I got some award. I think it was Best Folk Group or something, given to me by Dave Staker Ray, which was the big honor. But the band called the Blue Hippos was won Best New Band of the Year. This was back then. The Minnesota Music Awards were a big deal. Yeah. There was like 2,500 people at Northrop Auditorium. And the band, Blue Hippos, won the Mabel's having her way with the she's fine.
It's like, is she throwing up back there? No, you're good.
So anyway, they won Best New Band, but they played 2 songs. But the PA went out. Couldn't hear the vocals, but they barreled through. So I saw this guy, the guitarist. He was about 18 years old now. And I was teaching in 78, so this is 7 years later. And so I went up to him in the lobby after the show, and I said, man, you're great. This show must go on. Mabel, give me that. That was Mabel. That's Mabel.
Yep, they love bottles.
Yeah. So anyway, I said, man, it was great. The show must go on. Showbiz 101. He goes, you're Paul Metsa, right? I go, yeah. He goes, you were my first guitar teacher. I said, really? I said, what's your name? He goes, Paul Osby. I go, 1:00 on Wednesday. He goes, that's me. He goes, yeah. He said, my mother used to pick me up at school. He was in 6th or 7th grade. Take me down at 1:00 for my lesson. He said, you'd be reeking of marijuana lunch hour, and you'd make me play the chords to Sweet Home Alabama for a half hour while you soloed. I go, dude, the proof is in the pudding. You just won Best New Band of the Year. So we all, I guess, we all have our different ways of teaching.
That's amazing. I love it. Now, well, that gives me permission to, go a little different direction. No,
I thought weed was legal back then. What did I know? So now tell us about, are you a yoga instructor like weekly down in the cities?
I used to own a yoga studio. Backing up, I moved down here. I had an opportunity to take one over. So it was 2016 to 2019. It was called Imbue, like my name. Okay. Imbue yourself with well-being. But then after that, I just kind of moonlighted around different studios, and then the pandemic happened. Right. Since then I've been teaching on Zoom. I have a Patreon subscriber thing. So I teach Saturdays publicly on Zoom, online on Zoom. And then when I'm in town, and then shoot that out to my Patreon subscribers. But I just launched a yoga teacher training program. So I'm training teachers now with my master teacher, actually, who I spoke of you and she knows you, Tara Cindy Sherman. Okay, sure. Yeah, she's like besties with Coco, Colleen Elwood. And so she's like seen you a lot. And anyway, we launched a teacher training program. We've got 9 yoga teachers to be. But we also together and separately host retreats and stuff. So
cool.
Yeah.
You have people like where's the with your Zoom yoga? Where's like the farthest person away? I mean, because you can do this all over the world.
Oh, I've had people in I've had people in Bali, because I've done like 3 retreats in Bali, hosted 3 retreats there, and made some friends, and they've Zoomed in before. But yeah, so that's the farthest.
For anybody out there in the radio audience that wants to Zoom yoga, how can they? What's the is it a Patreon or Mary Bowie or what?
Yeah.
Can you track you down?
You don't have to be a Patreon subscriber. You'll get the recording if you are, but it's just go to my website, marybue.com, and then I have a yoga tab, and you can click on the events, and there's a login right there. And it's just pay what you want. Like if money's an issue, just come and breathe with me. It's not a big deal. I love it. Yeah.
And what time, Central Time?
10:30 a.m. Central Time. Yep, I always sing at the end, and we do some mantra, and your video's off, or you could have it off or on. It's very it's going to happen anyway. So
you are a truly modern Renaissance woman, aren't you?
Thank you. There's so much to do in this life, and I'm a little distracted by sparkly things, and I want to do so many things, but I'm honing it in. Paul.
Let's talk about when did you come up with the idea? I'm going to take a group of yoga minded people, yoga-ettes, or whatever you call them, to go to. You've been to Bali, you've been to India. When did that idea come about?
Ooh, well, I love traveling. It's a huge passion my whole life. And I would book my own tours with music. So I just started going all around and solo tours. And then I've studied abroad in England. I don't know. I just love traveling. And when I closed my yoga studio, I actually tried to launch a yoga retreat during it, but it didn't work. But when I closed it, I had a retreat up at Nanabuju, up in Grand Marais, and it's sold out, 30 people for a weekend. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I had just been watching people, and I was like, that's a way to bring all the things I love: music, yoga, travel, good food, cool people all together, and have this adventure, and really dig into a different culture and have a huge experience together. And yeah, so I love it so much. I've done about 20 of them now.
Wow.
Both with co-hosts and separately. But yeah, Bali, Ireland, Italy, Malta, New Mexico.
Wow.
India just now. Yeah.
Then when you get to these places, then locals can also join in. Right. We do some things with the locals. We'll have different adventures with them and meals with them. But it's not open a class or something because the retreat container kind of travels together. But there are if I do a concert or something, then that's open, and sometimes the yoga classes are open. So yeah. And it's. And it's a great way to cut down on your traveling expenses.
Exactly. It's all a write-off. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I want to go here. How can I make that work? But I try and experience the place first and get, connection.
Where's the next big retreat?
The next one is in New Mexico, and it's with my friend Sarah Brocky, who's in Duluth. She's actually head of the art department at St. Scholastica. And she's a fine artist. And so it is at Ghost Ranch, which is in Abiquiu, New Mexico, where Georgia O'Keeffe lived.
Wow.
So it's a Georgia O'Keeffe focused retreat. So we did it last summer too. And we study her, we go to her museum, her house, the land that she painted.
It's incredible.
It's just so amazing. Like that land. I mean, yeah, just to like bask in Georgia country is so cool.
I'd pay for a ticket for that. I'm afraid if I ever did the downward dog, I'd never be able to get up.
You could do it. I can tell. No problem. I mean, how are your wrists? That's the only thing.
Yeah, they're okay. No arthritis yet. Who's going to be in the band at this show?
It's almost everyone from the record. So Jeremy Ilvasacker, who's also, I think, going to play a few with Galen. They've done some collaborating. They actually just did a play in in Minneapolis called Invisible Fences with Kevin Kling.
Right.
And Jeremy was the narrator for that. So they'll be fresh off that. So Jeremy Ilvasacker, Steve Price on bass. The drummer is going to be Noah Levy.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's known Noah.
I love Noah. He's such a blast. So I'm really honored to, Richard has like a lot going on. So Noah is stepping in for some shows. And then Julia Floberg on cello.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm really anxious to hear you live. I've heard your name for a long time, but excuse me, this is the first time we've actually chatted other than when we were setting up the interview. Well, it's really a great records. Where is it available, like in local places like the Electric Fetus? And
Yes, yep. It's at the Fetus, and it's at Hi-Fi Heron Records. So
Johnny Clifford.
He's the best. And birthday party on Monday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And let's see here. That's, I didn't do a big... it's just me, so I didn't run around dropping things off it. But you can order it on my website. I'm shipping all the time right now. I did a Kickstarter, so I'm like in over my head sending out shirts and stuff. But I'll ship it to you personally, and then I also have streaming and downloads and Bandcamp and all that.
Are you doing LPs?
Oh yeah, yep. That's the big push. Yep, I have 3 LPs out, except I'm out of the World Is Your Lover now. But yeah, I love it.
You've got so many irons in the fire. Do you have any, what is Mary Bewey's day like?
My day? Oh, it's different every day, which I love, but is also distracting. I have a very disciplined morning routine. I get up and actually this is a little cheesy, but I get up and dance. Like I live alone, so I put music on and I dance and I do some weights. And I know it's so cheesy. I'm like Olivia Newton-John over here.
Right.
And but yeah, I love dancing, so I do that, and I want to get more dancing.
So what time do you wake up?
Oh, it depends. Every day is different. Today I overslept, but I'm still jet lagging. But I slept till 9:30. Yeah. Well, that's not oversleeping, because sometimes I'll have phases where I sleep till 11.
Right.
But I do love the morning. I like to have at least 2 hours before leaving the house. But yeah, I dance. I have my French press. I meditate. I do a little bit of yoga postures. I do some mantra. If I have time, I go for a run. But yeah, I'm very I need to move and focus my mind because I have a lot going on.
No doubt. I'm very impressed, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
You feel like a complete piker, but
a complete what?
Piker and bruiser.
You are. What are you talking about? Whatever. No comparison. Look at you.
You get a lot done now. What Where will this record? Are you doing any touring around with it?
Yeah, a little. I'm working on that. Again, it's just I've had booking agents.
Yourself, right?
What's that?
You book yourself?
Yeah, I've had a few booking agents, and then COVID happened, and I was like, yeah, I can't. What are we doing? So I'm just, but and it's like when getting to that level of like paying everyone, and I want to, it's like but yeah, I have a few little things in the Twin Cities, but I'm gonna get out. Do some regional stuff. I'll probably book some on the way down to New Mexico, and then I'll be out west in the fall. Right before the record came out, I got to hit the road with Cloud Cult, actually. Wow. I supported them last fall out west in Seattle and Portland, and then I got to go to Nashville, Atlanta, and Durham with them in January, like right before the record was printed, so I started selling it there. But yeah, so I kind of pre-toured before the record, but there's some exciting things coming this summer and some house concerts and yeah. I'm playing up at Lutzen for that Mountain Meltdown. They haven't announced the artist yet, but that's like the week after the album release.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Now, what sort of music are you listening to in those few minutes of the day where you have free time to listen to music?
Well, Cloud Cult, if you haven't explored, they're just beautiful. I love their music, and so I'm grateful to have supported them. And I love Cloud Cult. Right now I'm really into this artist named Sid Sriram. Have you heard of Sid Sriram yet? So he is actually a Bollywood singer. So he's from India, and he did a collaboration with Bon Iver, like the people involved in Bon Iver. And so he made like an indie rock pop record, but it's like his gorgeous, like Indian singing and like beautiful spiritual themes. And so a little bit of electronic. So I highly recommend that. But yeah, I'm all over the place. Again, yesterday driving, I was like Pam Tillis a little bit, and I'm all over the place.
Have you heard Al Sparhawk's latest record?
I have. It's cool. Yeah, with the synth and the vocoder. Yeah. And then he's just putting one out with Trampled.
Yeah.
I love the first single from that. It's really good. I love how he sings about, I actually just messaged him. I'm like, about one of his lyrics, about you got to clean the cup holder in your dashboard. That's one of the lyrics. Yeah, I feel like the song's kind of about like getting your shit together. Yeah. I need to listen to it again, but I was like, that is funny.
One of the joys about living in Duluth now is getting to know. I knew Al over the years, not really well. I've gotten to know him better and hung out with him, and I've got just the utmost respect for him as an artist and a dad, and what he went through and his loss and his catalog of music that he made with his lovely wife. And the guy is, to me, he's like John Lennon of northeastern Minnesota. Truly, I think he's that good.
Very visionary, absolute creative genius for sure.
He's really in touch with the whole vibe that is Lake Superior and the glaciers that were here hundreds of thousands of years ago, and the Native American history, and he's locked in all of it at the same time.
Totally.
Yeah. Now, what does Mary Buey like to read when you have any time?
Ooh, well, right now, I read nonfiction. Like, I don't really read novels or anything, but I read a lot of yoga stuff and like spiritual stuff. Right now I'm reading, this is like an older book, Sacred Contracts by Carolyn Myss. I don't know if you know about that, but it's like about like karmic connections. Right. And yeah, I dig into the sort of a lot woo spiritual stuff. Yeah. But since I'm doing this, I'm training yoga teachers now. I am really revisiting yogic philosophy like deeply again. And like it's, having read it when I was being trained and all the other trainings, but now like reading it in a way to like teach it to people. So the Yoga Sutras, which is like a deep, like depth psychology about the mind and consciousness. Right. And so, yeah, and like yogic anatomy and chakras, and yeah, it's cool.
You have your Taekwondo chops together?
Yeah, I know. I want to. I feel like a little draw towards martial arts again, you know, so we'll see. There's not much time in the day anymore.
You are a very fascinating woman. I look forward to hearing you March 28th at the Sacred Heart, which is a beautiful performing arts space. I'm looking forward to hearing Galen Lynn. Are you two going to play anything together that night?
I haven't asked her yet, but I'm going to. Yeah, she's very, like, she's writing a book right now, so she's, like, kind of hard to get a hold of. Yeah. So I feel so grateful. And, I mean, Broadway musical and, like, a play. And, and like, working with Michael Stipe and, you know. Yeah.
She's got it all going on.
So I'm like giving her a lot of space, and also like so grateful that she is hopping in for this show. I'm stoked.
What a wonderful bill.
Yeah.
What is, Mary Beauty, what is your last favorite piece of advice or piece of philosophy you can leave with my listeners today?
Whoa, that's a big one. The thing that's popping up is about comparison. I've struggled with that early on in Duluth. I had a lot of comparison and jealousy stuff. So I just was recently asked like advice to young artists, and it's really do anything in your power to believe that your expression is unique in the world and like unique in all of time. And if you feel compelled to share your art, that it is a unique expression of you and your blueprint, and to do everything you can not to compare, because we're all on different journeys.
That is a beautiful way to end this conversation with my new friend, Mary Beauty. And I, like I told you after listening, I'm your newest and biggest fan.
That means so much to me. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next week.
Awesome. Can't wait. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was really enjoyed that with Mary Bew. Coming up, Mark Nisklowski from the Sacred Heart Music Center and the great Galen Lee. We're going to listen to music and chat with her. You're going to really dig it. Stay tuned. Stars Over the Prairie on KDL. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, Stars Over the Prairie. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and the music from Mary Bew as much as I did. We've got the great Galen Lee coming up in about 10 or 12 minutes. But first, we were going to talk to a man named Mark Nisklowski, who is kind of the man behind the curtain at the Sacred Heart Music Center. He's going to give us a little history, tell us what's coming up, and his wife told me he sleeps in late on Saturday, so call him and get him on the show. And and I got him. Mark, how are you doing?
Hey, Paul, doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Give us a little history. I've had the pleasure of playing several times at Sacred Heart Music Center, and I was actually, Mark, in a wedding there. I wasn't the best man, but I was in a wedding party in about, I'm guessing about 76 or 77, and with this guy I grew up with. And it took a while. The bride was having second thoughts.
Oh, no.
So they were waiting for the bride to come out, and it took her like 15 or 20 minutes. Finally, the priest had to go in and do a little coaxing and came out. So it was kind of a tense wedding. I think it lasted about a year. But the party was great at the old Hotel Duluth in the ballroom.
There you go.
So I go way back with Sacred Heart. But,
yeah.
But, Mark, when did you get involved?
Well, that's amazing. So you were there when it was still a church.
Yep.
No longer a Catholic church or a cathedral as it was. back in the day, it fell into disrepair shortly after that wedding, I guess. And
that would make sense.
So and the wedding fell into your marriage fell into disrepair as well.
Disrepair as well, yeah. But fortunately, the community here in Duluth rallied back in the 80s, led by the organist, Joan Conley, who basically saved Sacred Heart. She was a longtime organist there and said, you can't tear down this beautiful building because there's this amazing historic organ up in the loft. And,
right.
There's no way to save it if, you couldn't get it out of there. So the only way to do it was to save the building, and the community rallied, and and sometime in the mid '80s, I think the church sold the building to the music center organizers for $1.
Wow!
And and then they restored it. They did a massive restoration project. I know the city of Duluth was involved in that too, and. And then, they've made it into really a music palace now, and it's just a beautiful place to play. And, in my opinion, it's one of the most beautiful music venues in the state. And, it's just the sound in there is great. And, so it's just been a great piece of history for Duluth.
Well, we've got to give a shout-out to your longtime sound man, Eric Swanson, who I've also done recording there and look to do more recording again. But
best sound man in the business.
Oh, he's just amazing and sweetest guy.
Yeah, Eric he's a treasure for the city, and we're just so lucky to have him here in Duluth and doing the thing for Sacred Heart. He's behind the board every show, and he organizes the Duluth Does tribute concerts twice a year that just showcases all the local talent. And he's just an amazing, hardworking guy, and like you said, just such a great person too. So shout out to Eric.
Yeah, for sure. And before I forget, Mark, we figured out last week I'm going to be doing my second benefit for the people of Ukraine on May 14th, so I'm just starting to put musicians together for that, and I appreciate you working with that, and we're going to get a hold of Kim and Mr. Leon to see if we could do a live broadcast out there, which is something you guys do too as well. You have a lot of your shows online.
Yeah, that started out of necessity during COVID.
Right.
Sacred Heart was, it's a 19th century building. It had prior to COVID, it had no wiring for cable or, Wi-Fi or anything like that. And so the board, really stepped up, and we put the state-of-the-art technology in there so we could live stream shows, and we did a whole bunch of live streams, and they're all on our YouTube channel. Anybody, listeners out there want to catch up, and, we had Charlie Parr on there, and Mary Boo played, and
I'm on there too.
A litany, and Chris even helped out with an interview, So, it's just there's, I don't know, maybe 200 videos on there now.
Wow.
To it of just all local talent, and acoustics in there. It's like a studio, of course. It is a studio. And so the sound, if you're into sound and want to watch the local musicians perform, tune into our YouTube channel. And Mary Boo is going to be on the YouTube channel too. Mary and Galen, that show will be live streamed.
Wow.
To watch live, or if you just can't make it, you're busy that night, it's archived and you can watch it the next day or the next month.
Well, after spending the last couple of days really delving into Mary and Galen's music, I think I am predicting, Mark Klosky, that it is going to be one of the coolest and biggest and most artistic concerts of the year. So how can people get tickets? I think a lot of people are going to want to go to this. So if they want to order tickets ahead of time, what is the website URL to do that, Mark?
Yeah, or, just go to the Sacred Heart. There's a bunch of different ways to get tickets. You can go to the sacredheartmusic.org website, and there's a link to the shows and tickets there. You can go to Eventbrite and just, Google Sacred Heart Music Center Eventbrite, and that brings you right to all the tickets. Our Facebook page has links to tickets if you're into Facebook under the events calendar, and then there's paper tickets too. We still do it the old-fashioned way, Paul.
Good for you. I'm old school.
Paper tickets. Yeah, you have a little souvenir. You can put in your scrapbook. Yeah, paper tickets are available at Zenith Bookstore in West Duluth and at Globe News over in Superior, and and they're always available at the door too. We have a huge venue. So, it's really hard to sell out Sacred Heart. And
this may do it, though.
Available.
This may do it.
Well, we hope so.
Because they both have huge followings. So
Mary, it's just such a powerhouse of a singer. And of course, Galen, to see Galen at Sacred Heart is, unforgettable. So, it's just, she knocks it out of the park every time. So,
what is the capacity there, Mark, if you packed it to the gills?
Yeah, well, I think like for Charlie Parr, we had 410, but that we had to get temporary seating and that kind of thing. Typically, it's around 350 to 400.
Nice.
So it's a big venue, and it's of course, like I said, it's one of the most beautiful in the state. So it's experience just to come and see a show.
Well, what's really fun, because I've been there as a musician and also as an audience member, and if you're there right at the day, if you get a little bit of the sunlight coming through those beautiful stained glass windows when it turns to dusk and then the lights of the room come up, it's pure magic.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's a magic in Sacred Heart that you just can't match anywhere else, and so... Yeah, we just love it when we get a lot of people there. It adds to the buzz, and it's just a fun time to see a show. And we try and get all the great musicians, especially we're focusing on regional musicians and local Duluth musicians. So we've got a great calendar coming up.
And you've got a Homegrown Festival coming up, and then right around after that, of course, we've got our Ukraine benefit on May 14th, and then you've got some Dylan Days action going as well.
Yeah, we've got a local band, Shelter from the Storm, that's going to be doing all Dylan songs, and let's see, that's on Saturday, and then on Friday of Dylan Fest, it'll be the 23rd of May, we have the songwriter contest, where musicians come in, they play one song of their own, and they play one song of Bob's, and then judges decide, who's first, second, and third place. And so we get musicians from all over the region, and we've had people from Europe come and play at this contest. So, thanks to Dylan Fest for that. Duluth Dylan Fest Committee puts that all together.
Well, Mark, you guys do a wonderful job up there. I know it's all volunteer, but now if somebody wanted to wet their whistle up there, doesn't our buddy Eddie Gleason have some wine and beer options at Sacred Heart?
Yeah, Eddie's been running the bar for us up there, and it's great. He's got all kinds of options. So come on up for that. We also have a concession stand that has all your snack and treat needs. So it's just a fun time, and it's a good experience for everybody. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love having those chocolate chip cookies and a nice hot cup of coffee up there. I don't know where you get your cookies, but they're really good.
Yeah, and Paul, coming up too, we have Jillian Ray is coming up, and she's an Iron Ranger. So
yes, I'm very familiar with her.
Look into that one. Okay, great. Yeah, that's coming up on April 4th, along with Brianne Tepler and the Front Porch Sinners. So. I'm sure you'll latch into that one, too.
Great. Well, as the people that have been listening to the show for over a year, we've got a wide open door here at Stars Over the Prairie for up-and-coming musicians passing through town. And, of course, I love my fellow Iron Rangers.
Yeah, right on. And Jillian's a great rocker from the Twin Cities, and I think it's going to be her first performance in Duluth in a long time. So
great.
Really excited about that one, yeah.
Chris, write that down. Let's see if we can maybe get her on the show here.
I know Brianne, too. We could get them both.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Niklowski, thank you so much for your great work. You do a great job up there. And thanks for keeping that place at such a vital and cool venue for performing musicians.
Oh, thanks, Paul. I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the publicity you give Sacred Heart and, helping get the word out. So we just love that and love your show.
Thank you very much. And Mary Boo and Galen Lee's, and we're going to have Galen Lee on right after the commercials. And they're there Friday, March 12th. 28th at the Sacred Heart Music Center. Galen's on, and just after a word from our sponsors.
The funny thing is, I absolutely hated buying a contact solution because I thought it was such a racket having to spend $15 on a bottle of contact solution. And that's just one thing, is just not having to buy that stuff anymore, or glasses or anything like that. For me, it's mainly just I like to hunt and fish and everything, and not having to bring that stuff along, especially in the winter when I go ice fishing and stuff. It gets a pain when I get to the end of the day taking my contacts out, and then if a rattle reel goes off in the middle of the night, I'm fumbling for my glasses to go and try and catch a fish.
Weiss Eye Center is the only clinic to offer blade-free Z LASIK in the Northland. To find out more and to arrange your free consultation, call 218-625-1917 today or visit weisseyecenter.com for more information. Weiss Eye Center. See the best.
If you're looking for a great hang in downtown Duluth, I highly suggest Carmody's Irish Pub. They're located at 308 East Superior Street, open Tuesday through Sunday. The host and hostess are Eddie and Liz. Eddie is a retired Chicago cop. If he happens to be in the club when you're there, talk to him. He's got more stories than I do. They've also got a great jam session every Tuesday night from 8 to 11 with Bruce Woodman. So if you're a musician, tried and true, that has been out there playing and just want to go try out some new stuff, go down and hang out with Bruce and the crew. Or if you're just up and coming, bring your horn or your stringed instrument or just want to sing, go sit in with Bruce Woodman every Tuesday night at Carmody's Pub, 308 East Superior Street.
River City Records and Books, voted best record store of 2023 in the Twin Ports by the Duluth Reader, has in stock thousands of new and used vinyl records, from classic rock to punk, grunge, and metal, to hip-hop, rap, and jazz, reggae, and dub. Thousands of books, CDs, DVDs, Blu-ray, and VHS. Also a large selection of cassettes, comic books, and music magazines. Stop in and see them at 1814 West Superior Street in the friendly Lincoln Park Craft District. Open 9 to 7, 7 days a week.
Every day deserves a superior beer. Earth Rider Brewery's decorated brewers hand-select hops that lend citrus notes to the crisp and easy-drinking Superior Pale Ale. Visit Earth Rider Brewery's Cedar Lounge Tap Room on the Working Harbor in Superior for their award-winning flagship and seasonal brews on tap and to go. To find out much more about Earth Rider Brewery events, join the mailing list and locate Earth Rider Beer near you at earthrider.beer. Hold fast.
You're listening to Stars Over the Prairie with Paul Metsa. The phone lines are open. 218-722-0839.
Did you know that when I get angry, I breathe fire? I could burn this place down. You may not realize all of the small ways I am not welcome, but just take a look around. Still everybody knows that you need a place to go, and living isn't easy. answer wisely. Answer wisely. I may seem angry, so please forgive me, but I am still not free in this society. How long must we keep fighting for our right to be living? Wrongs overdue for righting. We're a bit too forgiving. So when you see them make claims of progress, take a good look and see who isn't there. We need a seat now at the table, so please invite us, or don't pretend to care. Thank you.
All right, you're back with Stars Over the Prairie. This is your host, Paul Metsa. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty getting hold of Miss Galen Lee. Hopefully she'll call us soon. We're not sure exactly what the problem is. She will be performing, opening up the show for Mary Bew Friday, March 28th at the Sacred Heart Music Center. So hopefully we'll hear from her personally. If not, we'll play some more of her music. But my wingman, Chris Allen, Galen's actually writing a book now, too, that I wanted to talk to about. But seeing as how we're having a little problems with this Mercury in retrograde right now, I think is the problem. But we have, my buddy Chris is writing a book. What the heck's going on with you?
Someone else is writing a book, and they've asked for my input, being that I do ghost investigation and haunted places. I'll go in, and I can see, hear, and or feel spirits. So a lot of times when I go in, I can feel something, and then we concentrate on that area.
Wow.
And so he's...
And so you're actually feeling it's not like an acid flashback.
No. I can honestly say I have not done acid. So
okay.
So Chad Lewis is a well-known writer in this area, and he's got about 10 books of different things from around the area. He's written about some of the monsters of northern Minnesota and Wisconsin and things like that, and some of the haunted places. He visits them, and when I was doing mornings, I had him on my show every time he had a book out, and I had him on Halloween every year because he has such great stories. And he has come to me and asked me to share 3 of my favorite stories about the William A. Irvin.
Wow.
Because I've been on that ship about 30 times. I've been on with Duluth Paranormal, and I've been on with other groups to take them through because I know the places that are hot spots. And so he has tapped me to come up with 3 stories that are my favorite. So I have to have that turned in by tonight, too. Sorry, Chad. And I'm very lucky that 2 of the 3 stories I have photographs for. So
really?
I have proof, and they will be in his book. So when his book comes out, we got to have him on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And then I will tell you about the book so that if anybody wants to pick it up, it's going to be all about the William A. Irvin. He goes out. He's exceptionally good paranormal investigator, and he's even better about finding out the stories from the people that lived them or the people that were there. So his books are just exceptional, and there's a lot of things I had never heard of, and he's written books about
Tell
it.
us.
Oh gosh, I want to say it's called the Windowins or something like that. It's this. It's sort of like a Bigfoot that's in northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. And he went and researched it and talked to people who have seen this particular monster, if you will.
Wow.
And wrote a book about it because it's something that's growing along with Bigfoot and the Yeti and all these creatures, Loch Ness Monster, and all these creatures that people are talking about online and raving about. And now they're being investigated because we have better equipment rather than a shaky camera.
Right.
And so he's going out and he's been researching all these different things. And he does hauntings. Like I said, he does monsters. He does creatures. He does a little bit of everything. And so now he's turned his attention to the William A. Irvin.
Wow. So now, don't you think with drones we could have found, with all the drones out there, especially if they,
heat-seeking drones.
If Bigfoot was in New Jersey, they would have found him, because there was just a couple months ago, there was hundreds of drones in the sky.
Yeah. Well, when I moved from Maryland to Duluth and did a morning show, there was a liner on the air that was kind of preparing people. Hey, we've got Chris Allen coming. The liner was, Chris Allen is coming from Maryland to Duluth. And Bigfoot sightings have gone down in Maryland.
Wow. Funny. Why don't we hear from some of our sponsors and then get back, see if we can get Galen on the horn. And if not, we'll play a little bit more of her music and talk about what an incredible human being she is.
Sounds good. You're listening to Stars Over the Prairie with Paul Metsa.
What?
I said, go ahead. Sorry, I sprung that on you.
You sure did. You're listening to Stars Over the Prairie with Paul Metsa every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon, 6:10 a.m., 103.9 FM. And if you are a business that wants to get in front of a committed audience and be on the #1 rated talk show from 10 a.m. to noon in the Twin Ports, get a hold of me personally at my email at paul@paulmetsa.com. We have been on the air for a year and 1 week, and not only are we getting...
We have listeners from all over the place, all over the world, in fact.
Yeah.
You have listeners in Europe, in Asia, Africa, in Australia, because they can listen to your podcast. Some of them listen live on the internet, and most catch you on the podcast.
On the flip-flop, which you can just go to www.kdal610.com, and there's all the podcasts that are available from this fine station and fine Stars Over the Prairie, and check it out. We were hoping to have the great Galen Lee on, but I do know she has a family gathering today.
Okay.
So she had a limited amount of time, but we're going to. She is opening up the show for Mary Bew Friday, March 28th at Sacred Heart Music Center. So we're going to play some more of Galen's music, and talk a little bit about her, and we might even play a new Paul Metsa song as well. What do we got from Galen here?
You wanted to have on the Long Way Around.
Yeah, let's listen to that beautiful song by Galen Lee.
Two souls meet and the whole world feels new. Shared moments sweet, all colors bright and true. And there is laughter and there are good things growing everywhere. And I'm happy to be in this place with you, and I'm happy to be in this place. don't wanna go down this road with you. No, I don't want to go down this road. I want to go, but I can't, and I won't. I'll learn to sew up the wounds that I broke open with you. 'Cause I knew and I chose, and I don't feel at home in this world anymore. No, I don't feel at home in this world. Understanding, nobody wins if there is flight without the landing, and we learn to keep our hearts in time. Try not to burn the careful ties that bind us together. And I'm taking the long way around with you, and I'm taking the long way around, and I'm happy to be in this place with you, and I'm taking the long way around.
That was Galen Lee. That was The Long Way Around. We've been trying to get her on the phone. She still might call in, but let's talk about this amazing woman. It's just such beauty.
In just the last 7 days, 8,000...
Sorry? Trying to find another song and hit the wrong button.
Okay, that's okay, Chris. Hey, man, it's, this is a big-time radio here in the Twin Ports. These things happen. But Galen Lee was an American folk singer, violinist, public speaker, and disability advocate from Duluth, Minnesota. She also won NPR's 2016 Tiny Desk contest out of 6,000 applications. She was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, a genetic condition that causes complications in the development of bones and limbs. She came impassioned by classical music from an early age, and in 4th grade, a teacher took notice and encouraged Miss Lee to pursue music after they had the class's only perfect score on a music listening test. She's got great ears, great tone on that violin, too. So Galen developed a technique for violin which involved holding the bow like a bassist with the body of the instrument placed in front of her, like a cello, and attached to her foot so it wouldn't slip when she played. Her parents also owned and operated a theater where Galen worked growing up, worked her way through in school, and ended up doing lighting and production as well. She attended Macalester College, where she majored in political science prior to her music career, and she had planned to pursue a career as a lawyer and disability rights advocate. She is a disability rights advocate. Thank God she didn't go into law. We've got enough lawyers now. Chris, you've worked with Galen before.
Yeah, I did. I did a series during the COVID where I had a Duluth local, I should say, musician on every single day for like 2 months, and Galen Lee was good enough to do a whole morning with me, and then we featured some of her music during the show, and it was phenomenal. It's the thing is I had never seen her up to that point.
Right.
I'd never seen her play. I'd only heard about her. Galen Lee's playing tonight. Galen Lee's over there next week, and I always missed her shows because of gigs I had on the radio. Sure. And I tell you what, I had a chance to go see her, and she is phenomenal. And not only that, but you've been listening to the songs that we've been playing. She a phenomenal writer, player. Just an unbelievable musician in this area. And when people say that, oh, you live in Duluth, it's a small town, there's not much talent there. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right. World class. And we highly recommend you track her down. She's got several dozen great videos on YouTube. Galen Lee is spelled Gaelynnlea. Galen Lee.
Even if you spell it wrong, I didn't know how to spell it when I was looking for her, and it still found her for me.
Well, I've never met a bass player that knew how to spell. So. Chris, speaking of great world-renowned Duluth musicians, let's play this track that she recorded with the great Al Sparhawk when he had a band called Murder of Crows in 2011. It's a live track called Your Battle.
I don't know the words for the song I want to sing you. I don't have a name for what I want to bring you. And I don't understand what you've seen or all that you have done. But if I could give you peace today, my battle has been won. You're weighted down with worry. You doubt what you are worth. You question if you'll ever know your place upon this earth. But if you saw what I see, a perfect person standing next to me, if you could kindly let yourself be, your battle would be won.
Oh, yeah, that sounded good. Of course, Al Sparhawk always sounds great. He's out there traveling the world now, and we checked in a couple of days ago by text, and he's out for a couple of months, but he's got a new record that he recorded with Trampled by Turtles.
Nice.
So we're looking forward to getting him in to talk about that. I bumped into Eric.
Don't Trample do a show every year around May or so? Late April, May?
Well, I know they do. They've got that big thing at Bayfront kind of right around 4th of July.
Is it 4th? We should see if they can come in here.
Yeah, well, I'd love to. I just bumped into Eric Berry, their fiddle and mandolin player, is playing with Lazy Lightning 420. I think they've got one more Thursday at Ben Paddle with Mark Gartman and Teague Alexi. So I went and saw them. They play from, I think, 7 to 10. So I saw them on Thursday night at my neighborhood. And so it's If it wasn't so cold, I would have walked there. But and I love that bent top they had for sure. And I hung out with Pat Eliason, who does the Dylan Singer-Songwriter Night.
Nice.
He's a pretty good harmonica player. You ever played with him?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I just know him.
Yeah.
I didn't know he played.
Oh, yeah. He's always carrying a harp in his pocket.
All right.
And you just thought he was happy to see you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kayla Lee, she won the NPR's Music Tiny Desk contest in 2016. She has captivated audience around the world with her haunting original songs and traditional fiddle tunes. Over the years, she has collaborated with artists such as Michael Stipe, the Decemberists, Alan Sparhawk, and the industrial rock supergroup Pigface. That's a hell of a name.
Yeah.
In 2022, Kayla Lee composed the original score for Macbeth on Broadway, starring Daniel Craig and Ruth Negga. Thanks to a recent Whippoorwill Arts Fellowship, her soundtrack is set to be released in spring of 2025. Music from Macbeth for UK album tour will follow soon after that. She's got it all going on. And, of course, one of her big passions is promoting disability culture. To that end, she co-founded RAMPD, Recording Artists and Music Professionals with Disabilities, with New York-based recording artist Lachi in early 2022. The mission is this fast-growing global network of disabled music professionals is to amplify disability culture, promoting equitable inclusion and advocate for accessing in the music industry, accessibility. Yeah, she's really great. So she's going to be performing, opening up Mary Bue's show this coming Friday, March 28th at the Sacred Heart Music Center. We're going to listen to one more song of hers, and then I'm going to chat a little bit with my wingman and see what's coming up.
You know what else we need to do?
What's that?
You had that song that was on Penny Candy.
Yeah.
We featured it a few weeks back. We've got quite a bit of email that they wanted to hear that again. So if you don't mind me indulging you, I would like to throw that on before we finish today, too.
Well, that's great news. Let's listen to Galen Lee's Lost in the Woods, and then I'd be happy to listen to myself again.
In the woods, you were misunderstood by everyone, everyone. You were searching for words, but they came out absurd, and no one heard you, no one heard you speak your mind. They lost the time. Where's your heart? Where's your heart today? Give yourself away. But no one sees you, no one sees you. Keep your why, it's all a lie. Where's your heart? Where's your heart today? Forgive yourself, but don't give yourself away. But don't give yourself away.
That was Galen Lee. That was called Lost in the Woods. man, she's got such a beautiful sense of melody, great rhythmic style. When she plays that violin, she's got exquisite tone, and she's just an amazing woman with an incredible worldview.
Yeah. And you said she's working on a book now, too.
She's working on a book, yeah. I mean, she's soundtracks, books. She does a lot of personal speaking about her personal disability, which she really talks about as it's not really a disability. It's about dealing with creativity and how you get through it and, live a very vibrant and beautiful life. She's a very powerful woman with a very powerful message.
I had a friend of mine who is in a wheelchair as well say to me, a lot of people say, well, you could live a normal life. And she says, I'm used to this. This is my normal life.
Right.
And I just live life to the best of my ability. So when you say normal life, that's different for everybody.
Absolutely. I had a very good friend of mine, Larry Keegan, who was a quadriplegic when I met him. He was a childhood buddy of Bob Dylan's. They met at Camp Herzl in Webster, Wisconsin when they were just kids, a Jewish youth camp. And Larry got in a diving accident. He was 19, lost the use of his legs. And when he was about 25 or 26, he got in a car accident in Mexico and became paralyzed from the neck down.
Wow.
I got to know him when I moved to Minneapolis sometime in the early 80s, but he was a songwriter, and he performed. He performed several times with me. He had what I call the Mexican Mafia. He had Alfonso and another guy, and they'd truck him around, and they got to, they'd wake him up in the morning and bathe him and dress him and help feed him, and then they'd get in that van and they'd travel to wherever. He used to follow when he and I really got to know each other in 1990. He came into a gig of mine at the Artists Quarter in Minneapolis, and we had known each other by then. He said, hey, Bob Dylan's playing several shows in the Midwest like Sioux City and Sioux Falls. Do you want to go? I go, oh, yeah, I want to go. So he hooked me up with tickets. I met a guy and who had a beautiful BMW that I knew was a Dylan fan. So I said, hey, man, I got tickets if you've got the ride. So we went through about 4 shows. But always when we always were like 4th or 5th row. And Larry was always backstage. And then you'd see, and it was not just one tour, it was many tours over the years. Larry's van would pull out, and then Bob's tour bus right behind him. And he actually performed a Chuck Berry song called No Money Down. There's, if you can track down the picture of that with Bob playing saxophone behind Larry. Larry's in his wheelchair.
Wow.
And but anyway, he wrote about a 350-page book by clicking one letter on a time. He had a thing in his mouth that he could use, clicked on one letter at a time on his computer, wrote a 350-page book.
Wow.
Yeah. You never know. You hung out with the guy, you completely forget he was a quadriplegic.
That's what I mean. It's for my friend, she said, this is my normal. I can do whatever I want as long as I put my mind to it.
Yeah. Well, go see Galen Lee in concert with Mary Bew this Friday, March 28th at Sacred Heart Music Center. Now, what...
we got to do your song. It's actually requested.
Wow. and not requested by my mother?
No.
Who's not with us anymore?
Right.
But...
it could be. I mean, she might speak to me,
Yeah, right, exactly. Thank you, Mom. Yeah, this was a song I recorded down at Church Studio, which was Leon Russell's studio in the early 70s. And then when he moved out to Los Angeles, fell in disrepair. A lovely lady named Teresa Knox rehabbed it, and it's up and running. It's a gorgeous studio with a lot of history. And I just, Chris, we took a version of this song, and we added the video to it this week, so you won't be able to see it on the radio, but in a couple of weeks we'll be busting out the video for this song. Penny Candy, I wrote it and I sang it down, I think it was January 26th, Church Studio in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Wrecking balls working overtime in Chicken Town. While water tower shadows all that's left. Well, the dump truck hauls away the dust to 1897, and the wind blows away all the rest. 2 ropes hang from a sycamore tree, silhouette of a swing that used to sway. Oh, the ghosts of the whistle of the midnight shift, in a town square all the accordions play. Cannot get no more penny candy, what a nickel won't buy 5. Cannot get no more penny candy, penny candy ain't penny wise. Oh, the gates of the city are all broken, all the orphans are getting old, all the clown band in the drugstore Indian whistle Dixie as they hit the road. Tumbleweeds blow down Isabel Street on the heels of the last parade. Oh, the heart of the city stopped a beating on the morning of Judgment Day. Can I get no more penny candy, what a nickel won't buy 5. Can I get no more penny candy, penny candy ain't penny wise. They say the new world is a good world, well, they're just talking out of school. If you would do anything for money, would money do anything for you? Be a witness to all the changes, you better look before you leap. For progress might be a promise that we can't afford to keep. Cannot get no more penny candy, what a nickel won't buy 5. Cannot get no more penny candy, what a nickel won't buy 5. Cannot get no more penny candy, what a nickel won't buy 5. Cannot get no more penny candy, what a nickel won't buy 5. Cannot get no more penny candy, what a nickel won't buy 5. Cannot get no more penny candy, penny candy ain't penny wise.
That's a great song, and you did that in a day, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, man. We had cut 3 songs in 2 hours and did a videotape, and just was a ball. And that was the very first time I'd ever performed the song. I'd had the song sitting around the back of my head, knew I was going down to Tulsa, and I said, I got to debut it down there, which I did. Hey, next week we got Tony Durkins coming in from the Zenith City Press to talk about his new book, Twin Port Trains. They're doing an event at the train depot down there at Ken Beeler's place, and we're looking to get some live music for next week. Remember, if you are a business that wants to get in front of a connected audience, contact me at paul@paulmetsa.com. And like my dad used to tell me, remember to be kind and make someone happy. Thanks for listening.
For more than 80 years, KDAL.